Certified Lover Boy, the 6th studio album from Champagne Papi himself, Drake. You guys all know Drake, rapper, singer, songwriter, actor as well. He's back with another album, another batch of songs, another really long project. He likes making long albums. Now, with regards to my thoughts on Drake's music, because I feel like it is kind of important to talk about that first of all. I haven't really talked about him that much on my channel, but I have pretty mixed feelings on the material I have heard from him over the years. I think that there have been times when he has put out some genuinely great material and songs that I really like, and then other times when he's put out some genuinely awful material, like some of the worst songs of the year. So it's definitely a mixed bag with Drake. I never really know what I'm going to get from him. But there's no denying that he is a very talented artist and has worked a lot and works very hard to get to the position where he is now. You can't deny that. Even if you don't like Drake at all, if you absolutely hate his music, he's put in the work. That's simple as that. He's just put in the work, and you could debate on whether he's earned it or not, but there's no doubt that he has worked very hard to get to where he is. And this new album from him right here, Certified Lover Boy, gets off to a very good start, actually, with the first 2 tracks. We have the first track opening to the album, Champagne Poetry, which actually samples a Beatles song, the song Michelle from Rubber Soul. Even though that actually isn't entirely true, since he is actually sampling the Masego song Navajo, which came out in 2017, and that song samples Michelle, so it's just kind of this whole rabbit hole of samples, but basically Drake sampled the Beatles. And I think that this sample actually works surprisingly well for this track. It's a really good way, I think, to open the album. I especially like the second half where we get some pretty nice bass work. And yeah, you get some of the same old things that Drake always does, you know, yeah, yeah, yeah. He does all that, but honestly, it didn't bother me in this one. I thought it was a good way to open the album. The next track, Papi's Home, I think is also a pretty good one. It is kind of just him, you know, feeling himself, saying that he's the best, he's at the top of the game, blah, 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 all that stuff. But he does sell it pretty well. I like when he says, I'm standing at the top. That's how I know you never seen the top. Although I did kind of find the hook with him saying Daddy's home. That was a little bit stupid, and I mean, I get it, you know, Papi's home, Daddy's home, I get the whole correlation there, but it definitely came off as a little cartoonish to me. But these first 2 tracks, I think, were good and solid ways to open the album. So I was feeling pretty good about it so far. And then the rest of the album starts. So the rest of the album starts, and I'm immediately reminded just of how inconsistent Drake is with the material he releases. Girls Want Girls is the next track, and this one features Lil Baby. And we're just back to the same old Drake, you know, the very auto-tuned vocals, the very mumbly way that he is delivering these lines. It is just so dull and so boring whenever he does that. I don't know why he chooses to have that aesthetic with his rapping sometimes. I don't get it. I don't get why people like that. And then some of the lyrics in this one are very weird and kind of questionable. Yeah, say that you a lesbian girl, me too. Like, what the fuck? I get what he's trying to say. Like, you know, you like girls, well, I like girls too. I understand to an extent what he's trying to come across with, but I mean, that's just weird. Am I the only one that finds that to be a very odd metaphor to go with? We have the track In the Bible featuring Giveon and Lil Durk, and I didn't mind Giveon's feature. I think he does have a pretty nice voice, so I didn't mind his presence in this song. I thought he did a fine job. However, one part of this track that made me laugh harder than I should have was when we hear what sounds like a guitar that is mimicking the main melody to this song, kind of the hook to this song. And it was honestly hilarious. I don't know why they decided to do that, but I kind of loved it. Yeah, I didn't like this song very much, though. We have the track Love All featuring Jay-Z. And once again, Jay-Z is featured on another track where he himself does a very good job. I liked his feature a lot on this one. But unfortunately, he just couldn't save what ended up being a very mediocre song. Drake once again delivers this extremely boring and dull vocal performance and absolutely annoyingly repetitive melody throughout the song. And really throughout the entire album, there are so many moments where just the same melodies are just repeated over and 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 over. Some specific ones I made note of in my notes were this one, TSU, Pipe Down, Get Along Better, I Miss You Too, Fucking Fans. Those are just some tracks that I noted that had those repetitive melodies. But I mean, really, almost all these songs have those, even the ones that I did like. Honestly, I think that the song probably could have been trimmed down a little bit. I mean, it's not that long. It's only 3 minutes and 49 seconds. But, you know, I feel like just with how repetitive the chorus is, you could have maybe cut out one of those. Because the song is literally just chorus, verse 1 by Drake, chorus again, then verse 2 by Jay-Z, and then the chorus once again. And you could have cut out one of those choruses, I think. The next track, Fair Trade, features Travis Scott, and I found this one to be kind of a mixed bag as well. There is one line that I do actually personally really like, and I feel like most people are going to overlook it. But it's at the end of the chorus whenever Drake says, "I've been losing friends and finding peace." Honestly, that sounded like a fair trade to me. I feel like that's really just a good message for everyone in general. To be able to be happy with yourself and who you are, and to, I guess, achieve peace. And if that means, you know, losing some friends, not having as much people you hang out with, then so be it. That's what you gotta do, and that's what you gotta do. And I did like Travis Scott's feature. Okay, I like how whenever he comes in, it kind of just turned into like a Travis Scott song. It sounded like it was one of his tracks from one of his albums. So I thought that was cool. And he changes his flow up a little bit a couple times, which was also a nice touch. Yeah, I think it was just Drake that I didn't like in this one. I think other than that one line, I just didn't care for him. And I think that's overall why I didn't really like this song all that much. We then have the track Way Too Sexy, which features Young Thug and Future. This is so far the only single released from this album at the time that I'm recording this. And it samples the song I'm Too Sexy by Right Said Fred. And this song does not work for pretty much all the same reasons that I'm Too Sexy doesn't work, and all the same reasons that it's extremely annoying. Yeah, I just really didn't care for this one. And, you know, I understand that like sex is a very high selling concept. I don't know if that's the right way to word it, but you know, like songs about sex, movies about sex, like that is very appealing to a lot of people. So I understand why this was the single and why it debuted at number 1. I get that all. But yeah, this was just gross. Honestly, I just like wanted to take a shower after I listened to this. The song In Too Deep, I think, had a pretty cool bass riff that was kind of chugging along for at least the first part of the track. This one does also feature Future. That is really hard to see. Future is on this track again. And yeah, I didn't really care for his feature. Honestly, all the song really did for me was just remind me of another song with a similar title that is way better and way more catchy and just a much better song all around. The track Pipe Down, I think, had a pretty nice instrumental. It had a lot of R&B and soul influence. I think that's a genre that Drake really needs to work more with, the R&B genre. But once again, Drake is just so boring in this song. I don't want to say he destroys it necessarily, but he just wipes out the potential that it had to be a solid track. And again, just very repetitive. Yeah. The song Yebba's Heartbreak is, I think, one of the standout tracks on the album, actually. I like Yebba's vocals, and it's a very pretty piano-driven piece. Almost kind of sounds like a ballad. A very stripped-back ballad, that is. But it was very nice, relaxing listen. Like I said, very pretty. Also, very out of place. Like, it's just randomly put in the middle of this album. I don't know why it's here, but you know what? Like I said, it was one of the best ones of the album, so I don't mind it. I don't consider that an issue. I think it's a good one. And yeah, thank you, Drake. This is followed by the track No Friends in the Industry, which is much more fast-paced and a big shift in tone from Yebba's Heartbreak. Yeah, it does have that typical kind of trap beat going to it, and Drake does do all his, you know, yeah, hey, yeah, all that stuff. But honestly, it kind of hit different for me this time. I think a good amount of that had to do with the fact that his voice at least didn't sound auto-tuned to me. It sounded like it was actually him. I think because so more often than not we hear him with these auto-tuned vocals, it's just nice to actually hear his voice. And yeah, I just like hearing him, and he has a pretty good flow in this one. Not all the lyrics were the best. Maybe some of them could use some work, but I thought it was a good track. And yeah, just like I said, it's just nice to actually hear him, his real voice. Knife Talk featuring 21 Savage and Project Pat is a pretty weird one to me. The instrumental on this one, I think, had some great potential. It could have been really good, and it got off to a good start, but then just that stupid trap. Yeah, that whole thing just kind of, I don't want to say ruined it, but definitely tarnished it a bit. And all of the rhyming on this song really got to me and kind of grinded my gears in a way. Especially the fourth verse, which is delivered by Drake. He's rhyming all these ers. I heard her and tell him to the for sure. Through the curse, it got him why I flew to Turks. Little Doc said to him where we knew it hurts. I do like Drake's flow though on the track 7 AM on Bridle Path. This is the kind of Drake that I probably like the best when he sounds like this, and I actually wrote this down in my notes. But basically when he sounds like he's trying to imitate Common, you know how Common kind of has a very distinctive type of flow, and I think Drake from time to time can sound a little bit reminiscent of that. Whenever he sounds like that, I am honestly very captivated by him. And I didn't catch this initially, but apparently there are some lines in this one where he's actually taking shots at Kanye West. Yeah, a lot that could be dissected, a lot that could have different interpretations to it, but all in all, it's a pretty solid track, and I think one of the standouts on the album. The track Fountains sounds like it's sampling One Dance, which is another Drake song. I'm sure you guys already knew that, but yeah, initially that had me pretty worried. It was just this kind of typical Afrobeat instrumental. The track all in all, I just didn't care for. It's another one that was just kind of bland to me. The artist Thames is on this track, and she wasn't bad. I didn't mind her. I do kind of like her voice. But here with this track, there's another part that made me laugh more than I should have again, and it's when he's like, what? He does this weird like stutter. I think it's during the chorus, like, what? And it reminded me a lot of, actually, this clip from the Osbournes TV show. You guys might remember that from MTV in the 2000s, the reality show about the Osbournes family. And there's a part when Ozzy Osbourne is like this. So, yeah, I had a good laugh with that. But, yeah, once again, just very mediocre track. I pretty much feel the same way about Get Along Better featuring Ty Dolla $ign. This one also had an extremely repetitive melody. Some absolutely awful auto-tuned vocals for Drake, especially when he's trying to hit these higher notes. It sounded terrible. I don't know why they decided to auto-tune him to that extent. It sounded awful. But fortunately, this is followed by what I think was one of the best songs on the record, You Only Live Twice, with some really good features from Rick Ross and Lil Wayne. And I really like the beat to this one. It's another one that has some R&B influence in it. And the title, You Only Live Once, this is of course in reference to the acronym YOLO. You know, we all know about that term now, which was made famous from Drake's song The Motto. And so this song in a way is kind of a sequel to that, sort of. I don't have a lot to say about I Miss You Too and Fans. They were kind of just more of the same from what most of this record has sounded like. But thankfully the album does close with somewhat of a strong finish. I like the track The Remorse. You know, it's very kind of simple, not too much going on with the backing track, but I like Drake's flow. It's another one where he does kind of sound like he's imitating Common. And a pretty nice piano outro that I think ended the record fittingly. And that was Certified Lover Boy. A massive, massive mixed bag. After listening to this whole record, there's a good, I would say 6 or 7 songs on the album, about 30% of it, that I think you could pull and make a pretty solid and pretty good EP from it. But unfortunately, the rest of the album just didn't do it for me. It was just the same typical Drake, boring, mumbly, dull, lifeless delivery. Very boring melodies, very bland, boring instrumentals. I'm not saying that the entire album is like that, but I would say the majority of it was. Yeah, just another bland project from Drake. I don't think it was all bad, like I said. I wouldn't call it awful, but I do think it could have been better. And with that all said, I'm going to give Certified Lover Boy a C minus. I don't know if that'll be generous or sound generous to some people, but I didn't think that this was a terrible record. I did like about 30% of it, about 6 or 7 songs in it I thought were pretty good. But most of it I just really didn't care for and was all in all very underwhelmed by this record. But what do you think of it? If you've heard it, I assume you probably have, because it's been out for about 2.5 weeks at the time that I'm recording this. Yeah, a little bit late, but I'm always late to stuff, so it's no surprise, I'm sure, to some of you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. How do you think this ranks compared to the rest of Drake's discography? And thanks for watching, everyone. See you later. Peace out. Yup.